Jai Hind everyone, welcome back to physics classes. I hope you all have seen the previous video and you are well aware with the introduction of heat. In today's video we will start with the flow of heat. For a very nice example is in the during night when you want to go to sleep, your mother comes up with a glass of milk which you have to take, though you don't want but you have to take, and if you put a spoon in that glass of milk, after a few moments you can see that spoon has become warm. Okay, that means the heat from the milk has been transferred or flowed to the spoon. This is what the heat flow is called. So we need to understand how this heat is flowing. Okay, for again to understand it more better in more better manner, let me show you one activity. So students, you can see I have taken ice and I am keeping this ice on my palm. Okay, if you can see, after some time this ice will start melting and it will form water like it has been collected in this bowl. So from where does it gets the heat? Because it is melting, that means it is getting heat energy. We need to understand from where it is getting heat energy. Obviously it is getting the heat from my hand. My hand is is having more amount of energy than this ice cube. So what happens in this case, the heat from my hand, it flows to the ice when I keep it here, because after some time you can feel this much area becomes numb. Why it is so? Because the heat energy from this much portion of my hand, my palm, it goes to the ice and it makes it melt down. Fine. So this is what happens whenever we keep a hot body and a cold body in contact with each other. The heat starts flowing from the hot body to the cold body. So with this activity you can understand that heat is flowing from hot object to the colder object. A very similar example you can say that if I take two beakers and both the beakers are empty and they are connected with a pipe. Okay, then if the bigger beaker, if I put water into it till the rim, till the top of that beaker, the water will start flowing from the bigger beaker to the smaller beaker. Now what happens? When will the flow stop? The flow will stop only when both the beakers will have same amount of water. So this is what happens. When I had kept the ice on my palm, it started melting down. But when will it stop? When the whole ice will melt and the water which is formed is at the same temperature as that of my palm. Then the heat flow will stop. So heat always flows from a hot body to a cold body until and unless both the bodies are having same amount of heat. Okay, so in this particular activity we have understood that amount of heat is being transferred, but how to know that how much amount of heat is being transferred, or what is the degree of hotness in this the cold body or the hot body, or how can we say that yes, whether this is more hot or this is more hot, or how much time will it take, how much duration it will take to get in equilibrium. All these things actually needs the measurement of heat, amount of heat, how much heat is there, and to what degree object is being heated. For that we need to perform another activity. I'll show you how. So I'm taking these three bowls. Okay, let us name it as A, B and C. So here what I have done, let's take three bowls of same quantity and water having same quantity, and let us take three bowls, and in all the three bowls I have taken same quantity of water, but say this is A, B and C. In A I have taken hot water, and in C I have taken ice cold water. Okay, in B I have mixed both the waters and it is now moderate temperature, as we can see. Now let us see. First I will dip my right hand here in the hot water for say 5 to 10 seconds, and if I take it out and then dip it into the spoon. Okay, can you think what kind of feeling I would have? I think it will be feeling more pleasant. It is now if this water feels colder, I can feel that this water is cold. So if anyone asks me, I will say yes, this water is colder. Okay. Similarly, if I am taking my left hand and I am dipping it in the ice cold water, and then I am taking it out. I am keeping it for 4 to 5 seconds, and then I am taking it out and I am dipping into this water. Obviously, this water now feels warm. So I can say that no, this water is warmer. So you can see my both the hands of the same body is experiencing different thing. So we can't rely upon our senses of touch to determine the hotness or coldness of an object. This hand is telling this water is cool, and this hand is telling that this is warm. So we need a particular measurement to know whether an object is having how much amount of heat. So students, in the activity we actually learned two things. The first thing, that we require a particular measurement technique to know the degree of hotness or coolness of an object. And the second important thing which we have seen is that the type of flow heat takes. Okay, for example, I dipped my right hand in the hot bowl, and then after few minutes I have kept in the middle bowl, which was moderate water. Okay, I could feel that water is warmer, water is cooler, because the heat was flowing from my hand to the water. So heat was flowing from higher temperature or higher heat content to the lower heat content. So this because of this I felt that this hand is getting cooled down, or the water in the middle bowl is cooler. Whereas in this case, in the left hand case, it was dipped in the cold water, and then when it was dipped into the middle bowl, I could feel that it is warmer because my hand was at a lower heat content, whereas the water inside the middle bowl was at a higher heat content. So heat started to flow from the water to my hand. In this case, I was gaining heat. So when I was gaining heat, I felt the water to be warm. So you can see that flow of heat takes place from hot body to cold body. In this case, it was from hand to water, and in this case, it was from water to hand. Hence, we need to understand that we need to have a measurement technique, and that is called as temperature of a body. Temperature is actually the measure of degree of hotness or coldness of an object, and this temperature is having SI unit of Kelvin. Though the most widely used units for temperature are degree Celsius and degree Fahrenheit, but the one which is used by scientists and is approved all over the world, that is SI unit, is Kelvin. So the different units of temperature are Celsius, which was named after great scientist Anders Celsius. Then the second one is Fahrenheit, which was again in the honor of Daniel Gabriel Fahrenheit. And the third one is Kelvin, which was measured by Baron Kelvin and William Thomson. So as we know, now we have three units: degree Celsius, Kelvin and Fahrenheit, and as all of them are used in the worldwide, so we need to interconvert for various purposes. Now for the conversion of units, we need to understand that we have to establish certain stakeholder points or certain value points where we can easily convert the liquids temperatures. For example, if we take melting of ice, so the amount of heat required to melt the ice remains same, but this is measured numerically different at different scales. Like it is 0 degree Celsius for Celsius scale, it is 32 degree Fahrenheit for Fahrenheit scales, and it is 273 Kelvin on Kelvin scale. So pictorially we can say that the freezing point of water is 32 degree Fahrenheit on Fahrenheit scale, 0 degree Celsius on Celsius, and 273 Kelvin on the Kelvin scale. Similarly, boiling point of water is also marked as 212 degree Fahrenheit, 100 degree Celsius and 373 Kelvin on the various scales. Though the amount of heat required for melting of ice is same, but it is measured at different numerical values. Similarly, the boiling of water, which is 100 degrees Celsius on the Celsius scale, then 212 degree Fahrenheit scale, and 373 in Kelvin scale. So again there is division of difference of the numerical values. So in order to make them equal or to convert them, interconvert them to make the work done easier, so as we have different values on different scales for the same amount of heat, we need to interconvert them, and for that we have a different formula, and that formula is being discussed just now. To convert degree Celsius to Kelvin, we have to add 273 to the value of Celsius. For example, if it is 42 degrees Celsius, we have to add 273, which will give us the value of 315 Kelvin. Similarly, if 30 degrees Celsius is there, when 273 is added to it, it gives us 300 Kelvin. So it is easy to convert by just adding 273 to the value of Celsius. We get the value of Kelvin. Now to convert degree Fahrenheit to degree Celsius, we use the formula C equals to 5 by 9 into F minus 32 in the bracket. So if value of F is 113 degree Fahrenheit, we will put the value in the formula and will get the Celsius as 45 degree Celsius as our answer. Similarly, if F equals to 32 degree Fahrenheit, then by putting the value of F in the formula, the value of C will be coming as 0 degree Celsius. That is the melting point of ice. Let's convert degree Celsius to degree Fahrenheit. For this we use the formula F equals to 9 by 5 into C in a bracket plus 32. So if the value of C is 100 degrees Celsius and we put the value over this formula, we find that F equals to 212 degree Fahrenheit. Again we know this is boiling point of water. Similarly, if C is 45 degrees Celsius and then we put the value in this formula, we actually obtain Fahrenheit value as 113 degree Fahrenheit. So students, now we have learnt about the flow of heat, temperature and the conversion of units. Hope you all are clear about it, and more you do the practice sums, you will be more clear, and it will be easier for you to do the conversions. So keep on practicing, stay at home and stay safe. We will meet in the next episode. Thank you.